Hello, this is Chelsea Luhu, in my first actual attempt into producing and making some type of mild professional video, so wish me good luck on that. I wanted to respond to a video that Brian Holdsworth made, and congratulations on that last name. That is the most Holy of Knights type of name that you can possibly have. So that is a cash win prize on that one, sir. Anyway, sorry. Okay. He made a video about the dishonesty of deconstruction, and I can't help but disagree, even as a pursuer of Christ myself, because there is things that may lead up to deconstruction. It's not this, I'm sure he knows this, it's not this sudden burst of just, oh, I'm just going to toss Jesus out the window type of reaction or causation of sorts. Normally what causes deconstruction is either a variety time period of losing one's faith until it leads up to that point. It's like a leak. If you want to try to imagine like a tiny leaky faucet that where if it's not tended to, the damage that's presented will gradually grow type of timeline. The number one example I can give to for legitimate cause that leads to deconstruction is trauma, where both sciences, both who are completely more in science and those are both completely in the faith, can kind of agree that trauma changes the mind to such a degree that that person, either for many years or until they die, simply just functions differently. And the most profound trauma is, and here we know this is probably coming, is church trauma, where one could say, youth in the faith experiences manipulation, violation from a authority inside the church, because when that happens, that break of trust is so profound that it causes them to question everything and pretty much kind of like they're kind of like spun out from there, and it is like losing control. It is like you're just like adrift and you don't know which way is up, which way is down, which way is right, which way is left. It's like you're basically doing cartwheels in a void of sorts. I do not like it, and of course this is my opinion, not the Lord's, okay? I simply just don't like it when people paint losing of faith as, oh, they must have never been genuine, or oh, they were just, they were hurt. Hopefully they come back. Although I do agree with the hurt part, it gets underneath my skin when someone just wants to dismiss losing faith as unlegitimate because it was never legitimate to begin with. I mean, like, if you're a type of person who does, not to Brian specifically, okay, to any person who watching this, if you would genuinely think like that, like, are you Yahweh? Do you know for certain that that relationship that was between that person and God wasn't genuine in the first place? Because as someone who has faked faith, I didn't leave Christianity. I stayed in it for a period of time because I had community connections to my family and others that at the time that I thought legitimized my facade of having faith. And it is a bit sad and ironic because one half of my family is devout Christian and the other half is devout Catholic. And yet somehow I managed to slip between those that ginormous net. I guess I was just a little determined deal of some sort, just wiggle on by. In their self-defense, though, they didn't know because I never said anything. So, yeah, if you want to talk about genuine fakery, one puts up a falsification to either gain or to continue something. So, yeah. And the outside of trauma caused lead to deconstruction. One is a lose of emotional connection. As much as I know, but some may disagree, but sorry for my poor editing skills. Okay, disagree. Just hold on with me. I might have to jump cut that because honestly, I restarted this video so many times because I don't know how to do transitions. All right, sorry. So obviously, the middle is you. You have your mind, spirit, soul, and body. And although they're not all one thing, they're so closely next to each other that they do have some type of attachment to one another. As a pursuer of Christ and those who are children pursuing, who are Christ's children, his followers, we can agree that Yahweh is the Father and we are his children. In order to have a healthy, well-balanced, and a clear communication of sorts to happen between the parent and the child, emotional stability and bonds is what makes that relationship last until they are no longer alive. Yahweh is obviously more powerful than our emotions. I'm not saying that he's limited to our fifis, okay? That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that when it comes to our side of the relationship, emotions have a huge influence and even impact on the soul itself, because it's the emotions of love, loyalty, companionship, trust, joy is what makes that the soul brighter and practically sings for the miracle of life and has even more profound, deep admiration and love for the Lord. However, when there's negative emotions like hate, disdain, mistrust, spite, I would even say fear, that can definitely make our side of the relationship, a bit murky, and if left unrepentive or left untreated by a good support system like family and friends, it can murk the waters, murk that connection or that emotional bonding, to the point where it it kind of shrivels up, like we teach in the Bible that the Lord is the vine and we're the fruit, and the fruit depends on the vine. And when that emotional connection is either murky or completely disrupted, the fruits become shriveled and eventually detaches from the vine. And it's just, I just don't agree that what leads to that is 100% of the time unlegitimate, or it's just because he did reveal that he was agnostic at when he converted, because he wasn't always Christian, and I too once was agnostic, so he knows the experience of doubt and skepticism and secularism. So it's like, and I just briefly left mine, so I could still relate to doubt, and I'm working on that. Like, I need to leave that behind, I know, but since it's so fresh, it's like, how can I not still relate to people who do deconstruct? Because I know those type of disruptive emotions that I just find it is like, yeah, it is unfortunate, but doesn't mean that it's a masquerade or a mirage of sorts. Yeah. Sorry. Because I know what it is like to be enslaved by one's emotions. And what I mean by that is when your emotions have such a profound oversight over you that you are not I want to say not completely hopeless, but pretty much very vulnerable or very compulsive to respond to the emotions that you're feeling. I'm going to say I had a very toxic, like I want to say like a innermost, like it's kept, like I never displayed my toxic self-hatred, self-deception of myself onto others. Even when I was agnostic, I told myself no one deserves your turmoil, so you better keep that to yourself. So as much as chaos was going into my own mind, I was at least trying to keep that contained in my own body and at all times. Where I had such a negative view of myself that I began to think that, and this is after a period of time, I began negatively thinking about myself when I was about to say, I don't know, like, I want to say 13 to 12 years old, typical, like, puberty stage. However, instead of telling my mother about my negative thoughts, I just kept that crap to myself. Sorry, not crap. I apologize for my language. I kept that to myself, which I have no idea why. I think it's like, oh, you're just being a baby. You're just a way. Basically, I gaslit myself into falling deeper and deeper into this pit of self-disdain for my own existence, per se. And I, at one point, I think I was, what was it? I'm 31 now, and I think around like 27 ish, because I had depression since I think I was basically since I was 13 years old. It kind of started off from there. I'm not saying like it was like a boom type of depression. It was like, I think I started experiencing very light beginning stages of depression around 13, and then I didn't really notice it having a huge negative impact on me until I was at least 27. But yeah, around 27, 28, I began to have a contemplation of unaliving myself, because I had somehow I was starting to convince myself that my existence was so flawed, I was better off not existing in the first place. So that's what I mean by emotional slavery, is that when your emotions can basically overshadow everything good in your life, to the point where no matter what you achieve, no matter who's around you, no matter what you no matter what you achieve, no matter who's around you and the environment you're in, you can successfully isolate yourself into your own mind, and then it kind of like a self-feeding cycle of negativity that despite what's happening around you, that you're so trapped within, that the outside world might as well not exist. And I finally did admit to my mother around, I want to say 28, around when I was 28, where contemplation of unaliving myself was recurring again and again. And I knew things were getting bad when I had a plan, basically a time, a place, a method, like everything. And that's when I knew I had to basically say something to my mom, because once you have a plan, it's only a matter of time when it's carried out. And knowing the fact that my cousin unalived himself during college, and they never know why, and neither do I can only assume. But yeah, he had depression like I did. Now, currently, I still have mild depression, but because I have the Lord, I mean, I always had the Lord, but because I actually genuinely opened up to the Lord this time for help. It is more, with him, it's more tended to on a healthy scale, And I do hope one day, obviously with the Lord, it's obviously guaranteed. I have a habit saying I hope, because I never had confidence in myself, so it's still stuck in the way it's still stuck in how I talk and how I think sometimes. So yeah, so motion obviously can cause a person to leave God, or leave God. But it's not, I don't think God, when God legitimately knows that person and knows they came from a legitimate place, unlike me at first. Okay, when I first did turn for the Lord for help, it was a self-serving cause. But the shepherd just saw that as an opportunity anyway, and ran with it. So it's just unfortunately due to the fallen world that negative emotions can have a very profound and impact of that relationship on our end, but not on Yahweh's end. Like obviously he's more powerful in emotions. So yeah. Anyway. Hope maybe he responds to this. Probably won't, but I can only hope. All right. God bless and have a good day.